In this video, I'm going to talk about how to convert product of two trig functions into sums. For instance, we're going to talk about how to convert sine of A times sine of B into a sum. Similarly for cosine A, cosine B, and then sine A, cosine B. So these are the three things we're going to do. So let me go ahead and start off with this first formula. What is sine A times sine B equal to? Which turns out to be cosine A minus B minus cosine of A plus B, all of it divided by 2. So I'm just going to put a 1/2 here. 1/2 times cosine of A minus B minus cosine of A plus B. In order to prove this thing, I'm going to remind you of the cosine A plus B and A minus B formula. Remember that cosine of A minus B is equal to cosine of A times cosine of B plus, so this one is minus, so this on the right hand side is going to be plus, sine of A times sine of B. Then cosine of A plus B is going to be equal to cosine of A times cosine of B minus sine of A times sine of B. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to do subtraction. So I'm going to subtract the bottom from the top. If I do that, on the left hand side I get cosine of A minus B minus cosine of A plus B. And that is going to be equal to, now the top minus the bottom. So since I'm subtracting, this and this is going to cancel out, and this is negative sign, right? So negative times negative, when I subtract, is going to make it positive. So that's going to give me 2 sine of A times sine of B. Now if I divide both sides of this equation by 2, then I'm going to have, so I'm just writing the right hand side to the left so that it looks like the formula that I have here. So it's going to be sine of A times sine of B is equal to 1/2 times cosine of A minus B minus cosine of A plus B. At this point, we can do the following. Instead of subtracting, if I just add these two equations, I'm going to get the cosine A times cosine B. So we derived the first formula, which is this one. It's exactly this, right? But if I were to add, instead of subtraction, if I were to add, then I would have gotten the following: cosine of A times cosine of B is equal to 1/2 times cosine of A minus B plus cosine of A plus B. So we have found two formulas, one for sine of A times sine of B, another one for cosine of A times cosine of B. Naturally, you should be asking, how about sine of A cosine of B? Yes, there is a formula which is sine of A times cosine of B, and that is going to be equal to 1/2 times sine of A plus B plus sine of A minus B. And how do you derive this formula? You use the sine A plus B formula. So sine of A plus B is equal to sine of A times cosine of B plus cosine of A times sine of B. And if you want to make it minus, this is going to be minus. Then you just take both of these formulas, and if you just add both of these, you're going to get 2 sine of A cosine B is equal to sine of A plus B plus sine of A minus B, which is the right hand side of this equation, and divide both sides by 2 to get this formula. So I just showed you how to convert product of sines and cosines into sums of sines and cosines. And other ones you can figure it out from this. We know sine and cosine, then we could find tangent, cotangent, secant, all those things. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.